Hey, it's me, Bad B. I'm back.
Now that it's been about 3 months since I finished chemo, I thought I'd do a post about what I wish I knew before chemo. So, firstly, it would be to keep exercising. Now, when I was first diagnosed, the doctor told me, you'll get fatty. And I was like, what? And I just burst into tears because I considered myself a healthy person. I ran every day, I went to the gym every day, I ate fairly healthily, and I wanted to maintain my health and my body. But knowing that I'll put on weight, it just terrified me. Through chemo, I tried to maintain an exercise schedule, and it's not going to be the same as when you were healthy. Like, you're not going to be able to do the same things, but the key is to just move your body every day somehow. And even if you're feeling terrible after chemo, they always say to just try and push through and even go for a walk. So I tried to walk every day if I could and do some body weight strength training as well. My second tip was to eat what you can. So when I was diagnosed and I just didn't know why this had happened, I thought maybe it's the dairy or the hormones in dairy or something ridiculous like that. Maybe I eat too much meat. How could this have happened? So I thought, I'm going to go back to being vegan. Terrible mistake. Terrible, terrible idea. Your taste changes, so you feel like you can't eat certain things. And even now, I have a very strong aversion to several foods, and they just remind me of chemo and they remind me of cancer, and I just can't look at them again. And I ate so many things during like during chemotherapy, that I would never otherwise eat. I ate a lot of salty chips and salty nuts and shapes and things like that because I think my body needed the salt. And I drank a lot of cordial, which I never would usually. To this day, I can't stand eggs. They gross me out from chemo. I used to love eggs. I used to love runny eggs. Yeah, can't stand eggs and tuna. It grosses me out. Actually, seafood that isn't salmon grosses me out. Like, hint of fishiness, I'm out. It's disgusting. Like AYA cancer, adolescent, young adult cancer. There's a real sense of FOMO, fear of missing out, because you see all your friends living their best lives. Everyone's traveling, everyone's exercising, they're just going to their jobs and just having the best time. And you feel terrible because you can't do the things that you needed to do or that you want to do. But it's important to take rest days when you need it. So I made a couple of mistakes and probably worked more than I should have during chemo. Yeah, just take rest days when you need to, and don't be ashamed of that. There were so many. I've never been one of those people to just sit on the couch or be in bed all day, like never, unless I was really, really sick. And there were so many days after chemo that I just didn't get out of bed, or I went from the bed to the couch, and that was all I did. And you need to not be ashamed of that. So the next thing that I wish I knew before chemo is your immune system is compromised, very compromised. I got pneumonia, I got COVID. I was terrified after that of getting sick, and you shouldn't be afraid to tell people to wear a mask or to just avoid spaces or places or events that there might be lots of people or you might get sick. Your health is too important, and okay, sometimes you might need a break from chemo in order to kind of maintain your chemo schedule. Tell people to wear a mask, tell them to wash their hands, avoid them, tell them you can't go out, like it's fine. This one might not be for everyone, but my next thing I wish I knew before chemo is to plan ahead for wigs. So a lot of people I see are very comfortable being bald and don't wear wigs, and they rock the scarves and they rock hats, and they're just fine. I wasn't one of those people. I felt super self-conscious about not having my hair. I still do. Like, I don't go out without a wig. And yeah, okay, it's starting to grow back, and I think I might do videos now without my wig, but I'm very self-conscious about it. Got my first medical wig. I went to get it made a couple of weeks before I started chemo, and then it was ready like the week, maybe 2 weeks after I started, and just as I shaved my head. So it was really convenient. And then when I cut my hair off, I bundled it up and made a wig out of that. And then I got a whole bunch of like cheap, colorful wigs off Amazon just for fun. And it really helped with my self-esteem because, I got to try lots of different hairstyles and colors that I otherwise wouldn't be able to. And I didn't have to field weird stares or questions or comments from people about it. Like, I don't want someone coming up to me and being like, "Oh, what happened to your hair?" Or like, "I love your cool haircut." Like, "Oh," or like, "Oh, you just don't need the cancer eyes from people." I don't want to have this conversation with people. And when I wore my medical wig, I felt like I could kind of be myself. The next thing I wish I knew before chemo would be to tell the doctors about any side effects, because whatever is happening, they'll have something to counteract it. So you have diarrhea, tell them, they'll give you an Imodium. You are constipated, tell them you can have Taxol. I got the chemo acne twice, and both times I was prescribed with something different, and it worked. If you have any kind of infection or illness, tell them, because you can't get chemo if you're ill. But I didn't get mucositis or mouth sores or anything, which was really lucky. I didn't have neuropathy or anything, which was really lucky. Mostly it was the acne, the diarrhea, and then the constipation. And towards the end of AC, I got some pretty bad nausea. Those were the things. Also, there was that weird time where I thought my hearing was kind of weird. I don't know, buzzing sound. It was some sort of tinnitus. Anyway, it went away. And that weird thing in my arm, the blood clot, went away. When your hair falls out, it's not just the hair on your head, it's your hair everywhere. So your eyebrows, your eyelashes. I had lasered my pubic hair, so I didn't really have pubic hair. The hair all over your body, like your arms, your legs, and you're just so smooth. And that was really nice. Like the places you didn't want hair, you didn't have hair, and it was really nice. But then when it starts going back like crazy everywhere. Like, I am so hairy now. I was kind of obsessed with the idea of dermaplaning my skin before I got cancer, but I was too scared to try because I didn't want to get a beard or anything like that. But then, yeah, it just fell out of its own accord. Now it's back. It's so thick and it's so long and like, oh, it's crazy. I'm so hairy. And I have like hair kind of on my chest now. It's everywhere and it grows so fast. Like, I'll shave my legs and then like a second later I'm hairy again. Yeah, overshare. Sorry. And I'm Asian. Asians are not really hairy. The last thing I wish I knew before chemo is that I always used to get gel nails, and it was like, I loved it. It was my thing. But you can't have gel nails on chemo because they have to do the pulse ox on your fingernail and it damages your nails. So I took them off and I just felt like they were so hideous when I was looking at them. I hated looking at them. But they were fine. Like, my nails were fine during chemotherapy. There were a couple of like weird dark lines on it, but other than that, it was fine. Now that I've finished chemo, they are so weak. And like, there's so many black lines and black spots, and yeah, they just keep splitting and breaking all the time. So I've just got to keep them short. But it's really weird that it didn't happen during chemo. Like, the 6 months that I had chemotherapy, the 16 rounds and 6 months of chemo, my nails are fine, and then once I finish, my nails are terrible. But I think it'll grow out. I can sort of feel the ridges, I guess, of damage. But yeah, it'll grow out and it'll get better. But those were the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things I wish I knew before chemotherapy. Yeah, stay tuned for more cancer things.